Hello, hello, hello. I am Terrell PA. I am a motivational business strategist and writing coach. Okay. I help entrepreneurs to create your signature service of your coaching program and market it, and also write your book, a purposeful book, and market it. It all leads to one place, my Dream to Driven coaching program or publishing. So maybe two places. Yes. I'm also the host of the TT Street Show podcast, which is streaming on Roku on demand at KTV or on iTunes. I wanted to come in today because I specifically wanted to talk about some of the things that almost caught me as being a victim and not moving forward with my business, right? And so for those of you who are like me, maybe you're multi-talented, maybe you have a lot of big goals, a lot of big dreams, right? Maybe you are someone who is like, you know what? 2021 is my year. I cannot wait to kick it off. And then about, I don't know, 3 weeks in from January or a month in, or maybe you're just scrolling Instagram, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, I don't have the time, right? Or maybe you start comparing yourself to others, right? We've all been there. Or maybe you're just like, I kind of want to do this thing. I'm kind of getting started, but now I'm sidetracked and now I'm on to something else. So if you fall into any of those buckets, this live stream is for you, because I'm going to tell you what to look out for, how I was able to overcome it, and possibly what could help you. Okay. So for me, I guess I should start with, I came from corporate. So if those of you who are brand spanking new, okay, I came from corporate, from the banking industry. I worked in banking for many years in management, and then I switched over to the insurance field, where I was working as an insurance broker for commercial businesses. Yes, so making sure that proper insurance was in place, making sure that all those wonderful pieces was put together. And like many of you, I outgrew my job, right? I was just in a place where I was like, I'm over it. I'm not making the impact that I want to make. I'm not serving the people that I want to serve. And I really just want to do more, right? And so it took me some time to really, think about what avenue I wanted to go down. Because if you're multi-talented, like many of us are, right, you can go down many paths and be like, you know what, I can go down this path and be successful, or I can do this thing and be successful, right? But how do you really know what path you should go down, right? So there's a couple things that you can do. And I'm laughing because this is the thing now that I actually walk my clients through, right? So it's so funny, that secret sauce of what you have is for you, right? So the funny thing is that, I got tired of not only that hour commute, because from my house to my 9 to 5, it was like an hour there and an hour back. And I'm like, this is not serving me right. I'm tired of being in the car. Then when I come home, I still have to take care of my family. I still have to cook dinner. So I have 2 daughters. I have one who is older. So she just graduated college. And then I have a toddler. So I was at both ends of the spectrum, right? And I'm like, I want to create a lifestyle that I can have my own time, have some flexibility, do the things that I love, and make the impact that I want to make. And one of the things that kind of took me over the edge, and I'll just be transparent, is that, when you're in banking, especially when you're working for one of the largest banks as I was, what I was seeing a lot on the back end was a lot of corporate politics, right? And, a lot of people were losing their jobs. There was no stability, right? So even though that paycheck was coming in week by week, I was like, yeah, this is nice. You get a nice income, but it wasn't stable, right? Because what was happening was we were getting we were buying corporations, and they were laying off people, right? That's what was happening. And I was like, okay, it's only a matter of time before my whole department is going to be gone, because there's going to be double management, double positions. And, usually what happens is that when they acquire a new company, the people that were there, they don't care. You're out and they're in, right? And that's just the nature of the beast, right? And so I decided to get off of that cycle, right? I was like, you know what? No one else can do this for me. I have to do it for myself, right? And so that's when I started putting the pieces to the puzzle. It's really started connecting deeply with myself to really get out of that mindset of, someone is going to save me. I was like, no, I'm going to save myself, right? And so that brings me back to, what to look out for and how not to become victim, because I almost became victim of this as I was transitioning out of my 9 to 5 and into being an entrepreneur, right? So this is what I want to talk about today. So the first thing, the number one that I almost became victim to, okay? And that is imposter syndrome. Yes. So if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, let me just break it down for you, okay? Imposter syndrome is that thing where you are doubting your skills, okay? You are doubting who you are. You are doubting pretty much everything that, you can do. And so, it kind of took me off by surprise, because I was like, why am I doubting myself? I was in the banking industry for 20 years. I know what I know. I remember going to a conference and, one of my mentors, oh my gosh, she is a 7-figure entrepreneur. And, I went there and, I'm speaking to her team behind the scenes, and, they were like, yeah, you match her drive. We can't help you. And I'm like, oh, okay. That was an aha moment that I had to really dial down and really just understand who I was as a person, right? And I'm telling you this because imposter syndrome is real. It can be scary, but it can also stop you. It can halt you and really push you, like put you against the wall, like if you don't get a handle and understand what it is, right? So if you are thinking about like taking a leap or even just starting something new, if you're like, you know what, I really just want to start this new venture, start this new business, whatever it is for you, right? Only you know, right? And you're like, I just don't think I have enough experience, or, I'm just unsure about what I can really do, then I would really, really challenge you to make a list of all of the things that you are great at, right? And so I usually work through this with my clients, because it's amazing when you go down that path and you start doing the work, right? It's amazing when you start doing the work to see what all your skill sets are, right? And a lot of times, like I said, you get caught up in imposter syndrome because we tend to say, I'm not good at this, or I haven't done it before, or I haven't seen anyone else do it, right? But the truth of the matter is this: you have a lot to offer, okay? And, for me, it was a little bit, I don't want to say uneasy, but it was hard for me to identify everything that I was good at, because I had only thought about it from one angle. And so it's important to really think about, what is the overall thing that you do, right? And also not only the overall thing, but also what do people come to you for, right? And what do you have experience in, right? These things are important. And I will tell you, imposter syndrome will snatch your dream. It will snatch it. It will snatch it, okay? And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but the truth of the matter is it's a conversation that needs to be had, okay? And I'm here to have the conversation. Yes, one thing you will know about me is that I keep it 100% real. And I will say, imposter syndrome is real. You will have fears, you will have doubts, right? But you also have to recognize the difference between fears and doubts, and believing and letting that stop you from moving forward, okay? So That's one of the things that you could be falling victim to if you're not aware. Okay, so imposter syndrome, figure out if that's in your if that's in your aura, if that's in your space, and if it is, it's time to alleviate that. Okay, that's number one. That's the first thing. The second thing that I almost became victim to, okay, whew, and this one is the shiny object syndrome. Now, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but the object syndrome is that when you have started, right? And maybe you have decided, like, okay, this is the area I'm going to be working in. This is what I'm going to be doing, right? But for whatever reason, you won't niche down, right? You won't decide, okay, I'm just going to work with women who are in leadership, or I'm only going to work with fitness people who are vegan, right? Or I'm only going to work with entrepreneurs who are coaches, right? Whatever it is for you is fine. But shiny object syndrome usually comes up when you have to niche down, right? And so, listen, it happens to everyone. It's normal. But, for me, like, when I realized that I was getting into this, I was like, okay, yeah, I could do this and I can also do that. And then something else will come along, right? And so the thing about being an entrepreneur, especially if you're a creative entrepreneur like myself, right, you probably have more than one idea that's always brewing, right? So if you have more than one idea that's always brewing, you have to channel that. Like, you got to know, okay, what am I doing first? What am I focusing on second, right? What's my overall goal? What's my big picture plan? What's my legacy plan? That's what I like to call it. What's your legacy plan? What are you focusing on, right? All of these things are important, and if they are not lined up in a way, you will get sidetracked with the shiny object syndrome. And what that is that you just get distracted and you want to move on to the next thing, right? And so a lot of times that also comes into the phase of comparison, right? So you may look at yourself and be like, oh my goodness, I should be doing that, or I want to do that. Meanwhile, you have not even giving yourself 100% of where you are now, right? And so think about that for a second. Like, wait a minute, have I been doing shiny object syndrome? Have I been just like jumping from one thing and moving to the next, or have I went all the way through and followed this thing all the way to the end until I have some success, right? So if the answer is no, you got to check that, okay? You have to check it, okay? So that is the second thing that almost caught me victim. The thing that pulled me out of that was that I had created a legacy plan for myself, and that was the thing that really got me on track, where now it's not even an issue. I'm like, it doesn't matter who's doing what. I know what my plan is. I know what I'm focusing on. And if there's anything else that's brewing, I know how to channel that into my plan, right? So again, that's one of the things that I work with my clients inside of my program, Dream to Driven, where we dial that in completely, okay? So the last thing that I almost fell victim to, okay? And I will tell you, this one, listen, I'm a Virgo. I'm going to start with that. I'm a Virgo, okay? And all that means is that I have a little bit of that perfectionism thing and I talk about this a lot on my podcast, about how I had to work through my perfectionist ways. Okay. What I will say is that the thing that constantly, I don't want to say constantly, but the thing that I have to work at is realizing that just because I can do something does not mean I should do something. Okay. So just because you are good at something does not mean that you should be doing it. Right. And so what that really means is that doing it all by myself and lone wolfing it, right? That was the thing that I almost fell victim to. And the reason why was because coming from corporate, okay, you have that mindset of, let me do it, let me get it done. I have to, be the best, right? I have to get it done. And when you switching from that mindset into entrepreneurship is the opposite. It's the opposite, right? So instead of lone wolfing it, I had to learn, okay, now I have to formulate community. Now I have to formulate my own team. Now I have to create culture, right? All of these things that, you know, it's funny because when you're coming out of corporate and you're stepping into entrepreneurship, you're not thinking, I'm going to build a business. You're thinking, I'm just an entrepreneur, right? But essentially, you're building exactly where you're working, right? You're building out that culture, that whole systematic entity, right? And so I had to learn that it's okay not only to ask for help, okay, but if I'm going to do it by myself, I'm only going to get to a certain level. You're only going to get but so far, right? So, I will say that that is very important. And if you are in a space where you're like, well, I don't, I'm not making any revenue. I don't have any assets, or any income, any things to really move me forward, then I would suggest you really figure out how to do that. Like, seriously, because I will tell you, for me, the minute I started to enlist more help, the minute I started to identify like the areas of my business that I shouldn't be doing, and, identifying, where I wanted to be, I knew that doing it on myself was not going to get me there. It was not. Okay. And that's what led to more opportunities when I did open up and say, you know what, I'm going to hire my first coach. Okay. Opportunities came, big opportunities came, right? Not only that, but I also had clarity around the things that I wanted to do and the things that I was like, no, 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 no. I know the area I want my business to be. I know what I want it to look like, right? And everything this is why I say shiny syndrome is really, really prevalent, because sometimes we look at other people and we think our businesses should look like that person, when the reality is it should not. It should not. Your path is your path, right? And so for me, when I decided to not lone wolf it, it does not have to look perfect. Okay. Don't focus so much on what other people are doing. Focus on the things that I want to do. Be okay with niching down, right? And imposter syndrome should not even be at play, because I knew what I brought to the table, right? I knew my worth, right? So I want you to think about, where are you in the process? Okay, for me, it opened up a floodgates of opportunities, of great like-minded people that I'm now surrounded with. Great mentors, great people that I can go to if something comes up, right? And I didn't even think that I wanted all of that, right? I was like, okay, yeah, I just want a business and I want to help people make an impact. And now I'm more like, you know what? I really love, having those relationships and nourishing those relationships. So I really would like to hear your take on this. Where are you in the process? Do you have support? Are you in a phase of imposter syndrome, or are you in a place where you're like, I want to niche down. I don't even know what that is. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck it is that I do, because I don't know. I just know I want to help people. Then if this is you, I would say type support in the comment section and I will circle back around and reach out to you. Okay, so we could chat about how to get you, out of where you are to where you want to be. Okay. So I hope this was impactful and helpful for you. Let me know, what was your biggest takeaway from this video? I really would like to know. I always come back and answer any comments that are left. Yeah. So like I said, you'll be surprised how things will open up for you, when you get out of your own way. Bottom line, you just got to get out of your own way and say, you know what, I'm going to take a stand for my vision. I'm going to go for it and not be afraid, whatever that is. Whether you want to write a book or start a coaching business, just know that you can do it. And it just takes a little bit of support and also a little bit of bravery, right? So don't be afraid. So that's it. I'm going to hop off because I need to go see what's happening outside with all this snow over here. And that's it. Have a good day. I will see you all next Tuesday. Make sure you turn on your notifications, because I have not decided what time I will be continuously going live here. I'm testing out some, right now I'm testing out some times to see what works. of course, for my schedule, and also for you all. So, yeah, that's it. Have a good day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.